Hello, I'm Francisco Gonzalez.
And I'm Brooke Sleeper.
And welcome to this month's broadcast of Wildcat World, coming to you live from the PAC.
The course selection sheets were handed in last month, but the real work of creating the upper school schedule for next year is just beginning. Max Heinz has more.
After all the course selection sheets are handed in, Mr. Gillies begins to make the schedule. Here's a report on how it's done. So, when do you start making the schedule and how long does it normally take?
I think it'll take about 5 weeks. Last summer was my first time doing it, and so I tried to figure out how to make the most efficient schedule as possible. So it took me a little bit longer.
And what are the steps that you have to go through in order to make a good schedule?
The first thing that I do is I create a conflict matrix, which will allow me to place the most number of students in their classes with the fewest number of conflicts. And that's kind of the backbone of the entire schedule.
And when you're looking at the single section classes and the multiple section classes, how do you keep the amount of students for those classes within a reasonable range?
So I have limits for classes, which is we try to cap the number of students at around 16 to 18. And so we look at the number of signups, and then we know how many sections we're going to have. So we know what the numbers are going to be before we even place the kids.
The 5th annual community dinner will be taking place Wednesday, May 23rd, and the event will honor students and local citizens and their contributions to the greater RCDS community.
And what would you consider to be the biggest importance of this event?
I think the chance to see what's happening. A lot of times the upper schoolers really don't know what's going on in the lower school, and middle school doesn't necessarily see all of the great work that our upper schoolers are doing.
Specifically, who from the community and from the 3 divisions will be presenting this year?
Our keynote speakers this year are Sarah Wright and Chair Matthew Badranath. We'll have presenters spread out throughout the dining room, similar to like a science fair.
PAC renovation led to the rescheduling of the One Acts. Be sure to check out these student-directed plays.
On May 18th, Rye Country Day will be having its film festival, along with its reception for the all-school art show, with a unique theme. Wildcat World has a report.
Mr. Drotch explains this year's theme and how the faculty came up with this decision.
The theme for this year's show is called Tiny Worlds, and we came up with it in a meeting where we were talking about whether or not the PAC would be fully renovated in time for the exhibition. And with the fear that it might not be, we scrambled to come up with a viable exhibition to show all the student artwork. And because we were faced with space constraints potentially, we came up with this idea to have an exhibition of tiny artworks, and they're all going to be roughly this size. The display of art is an important part of making art, right? Some people believe that an artwork isn't finished until it's actually seen by somebody else. On May 18th, there's going to be a reception to celebrate the event, and that's going to be the same evening that the Upper School Film Festival will happen also.
Miss Hallen, the upper school film teacher, describes the films that will be in the festival. She also explains their importance to the community.
The film festival is the year-long culmination of all the video classes and the work that they've put in.
So how do you decide which films to be shown?
The students generally get to pick which project they're the most proud of and they want to show off. Sometimes, depending on how many students are enrolled, students can put in more than one film. I think it's important for that to be seen. I think it's important for students to have a voice, whether that be, written in essay form or, a painting, or in this case, a film.
The art exhibit will stay open until May 25th, but the films will only be shown once on May 18th. So if you're interested, make sure to show up.
That's it for this month's Wildcat World.
As always, if you have a story, please email Mr. Kyle or Miss Helen.
All right, nice day.
Yeah, we did a good job, right?
Yeah, very nice. Great spirit.
Yeah, it's good. How long are we supposed to talk for?
I don't know.